Nice. Thank you, Sheena. Oh,
We're just analyzing it and trying to learn through it and through the process.
yeah,
And then we're
absolutely.
gonna call our dear friends,
Our dear friends,
hopefully,
hopefully,
Oahu, like Connie or Daniel Khan, to just like
those
give some
pros.
guidance.
Yeah. No, totally. Oh, well, let's come back to that if you guys want to. If you want to share a little bit. We don't have really anything on the agenda, so other than jumping into our leads, needs, and good deeds. What's up,
Yeah.
Kurt? How's it going, brother?
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Anything new in the title escrow world?
It's just, staying steady.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting article I read. Um, a lot of people they did a survey and people who bought during the pandemic. Um, they kind of regret about the home that they purchased.
Yeah.
And it's interesting on here. But Corey, if you don't mind, I have Alicia Smith. She's a realtor
Yeah.
in Texas because you mentioned Texas. She's a top agent in Texas. Alicia, are you on the call?
You got something for us? Hi,
I don't know if
Alicia.
she's not. I see her face, but she's going through inspection right now, so she wanted to log in.
Okay.
But you mentioned Texas, so she can tell everything. She's in uh Dallas Fort Worth, I believe.
Okay.
You can tell you about the market, but yeah, it's just interesting. I was reading. I'll forward you the article, Corey. You should read it. It's just a lot of people are regretting purchasing because they're finding out things. It's like when you buy a car, you're like a great car, but then you realize, oh, I shouldn't have bought this car. So I know it's not compared to a home, but they're finding out things that they should have waited.
Yeah.
They felt rushed at that time. So it's just I'll send you the article, Corey. But thanks
Yeah,
for letting
absolutely.
me speak. But yeah, Alicia, just log in when you can.
Yeah. When just maybe send a message or let me know, Kurt, anytime. Yeah, I would love to give her the floor. Yeah, I mean buyer's remorse, right? I bet that's a lot of people because like I was saying in the other I think a few talks ago, is just I really think like 2021 was the hardest market I've had to play in. That was a rough one, and everybody was winning. It seemed like everybody was winning. But come to find out, no, everyone who bought in 2021, especially the house flippers, they had a hard time, and some of them are still trying to get out of projects, right? So that was a nasty market, but it was disguised as a great market, right? And that's why it's really important to understand the fundamentals and market cycles, right? And
Yep,
Warren Buffett's quotes are just so true.
it is. It's so true. And then there are also sellers are looking to sell, and they're just over it with their interest rates. They don't really care. They just want to sell. So you're gonna see some movement, people selling, um, is compared to it was two or
Recording in
2 years
progress.
ago.
Yeah, it already seems that it's heading that way. Like we have four houses on the market, and there was like no action, just till like recently, maybe like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, it started to get like now it's like multiple offers, and um yesterday we had the call with the NPLA, and I swear the feeling changes every time. And when there's a new economist on, so you kind of have to gather all your own information, all the information you can, like even reading articles like that, and then make the best decision, for yourself. Because it everybody has a question mark over their head, I think. Some people have more information than others, and some people have more influence that they can kind of control their environment. But for the majority of people, it's a big question mark, and you kind of gotta ride the wave early. Yeah. So I saw Alicia's back now. Hi, Alicia. You want to introduce
Lisa, you
yourself?
there?
And yeah.
Hi,
what is
I'm
your
here. I'm kind of going back and forth because I'm waiting on my clients. But yes, I'm Alessia Smith. I'm a broker in Texas and Hawaii.
Oh, nice. Okay. And Kurt was saying you're in Dallas Fort Worth.
Yes,
Awesome. Well, welcome to the call. What are you
thank
working on
you.
today?
Me?
Yeah, sounds like you're at an inspection.
Oh, yes, I have a home inspection that I had to meet the inspector and the roofer, and I'm waiting on my clients to come. So they should be here shortly.
well,
Awesome.
Lisa,
Well,
maybe just share with the group what's going on in Texas. What do you see so far?
Well, what you were saying is true. People feel like buyers made a big mistake buying their homes during COVID because they were waiving the appraisals, they were waiving the option period. So they were just buying it and they come to find out after they moved in and had these inspections done, there was a lot of issues with the homes. So now a lot of them are looking to try to sell their home, and Texas is in the area that I focus on in North Texas. We're still a seller's market.
wow. Yeah. And did you guys experience a buyer's market through this, or
No, we have not.
that's what I
So
heard?
we're still getting multiple offers. Yes.
Wow. So what is your thoughts of them pausing interest rate hikes and then possibly even starting to drop them?
I really haven't had any complaints because here in the area that I live in, I work with a lot of builders. So builders are offering major incentives by
Mhm.
dropping their interest rates like at 5% if you use their lender, and they're fixed for 30 years. So most people that I work with are looking at new construction inventory homes because they can get a really good deal on them.
You know what? We had Alex on, he's from John Burns. I think that was like a few weeks ago already. But he was talking
Hmm.
about this, and this was happening in Vegas too, because I was watching Vegas really closely. That's a market that we want to go in and buy a lot of property, and the market just wasn't turning. You know, the rates kept going up, but the market held, and a lot of it was because of the new inventory. The builders were giving
Right.
such great incentives, right? Like you said, that it kind of held the market. And then we're short inventory already, right? So, and
Correct.
they were giving such great incentives that it was a better deal to buy a brand new house than it was to get one is retail, right? So yeah, so you
Right. This
guys saw the
the
same thing.
the last five closings that I've had last month, they were all inventory homes. So this client that I'm working with today, this is the first pre-existing home I've had in a while.
Mhm. Wow. So it's been all new builds, huh? Who's the big builders?
Hmm.
The DR
Say that
Horton.
again.
Who's the
Yeah,
big
you
builders
have
out?
D.R. Horton. I do a lot of Highland Homes. They're more of a custom builder that I work with, and then Toll Brothers. So it just depends on the client's price point, what they could qualify for.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that was great info. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining our
You're
call
Corey,
too.
welcome.
Corey, why don't
Uh,
you share with these, with Alicia, what do you guys do and what are you guys looking for?
Yeah.
Maybe she can help you guys look for things. Maybe just explain what this whole group is.
Yeah, sure. Well, we have this call every Friday, and it's real estate investors. All of our a lot of it is our friends. We started this at the start of COVID, and
mhm.
just because there was pretty much nothing else to do. And we just kept it rolling for going on almost 4 years now. Just about 4 years now. So we welcome, people from all over, and because we invest, anywhere that's smart to invest. Um, and we also I'm co-founder and principal of Keiko Capital, which is a private lending company. And we're based
Mhm.
in Honolulu, but we lend nationwide, and we lend to investors who fix and flip properties or build ground up construction, single family homes. And we also do commercial deals as well.
So are you guys like a hard money lender?
Correct.
How many months do you give before for the buyer once they use your services?
You mean how long does it take to close?
Once they close, how long do they have to either pay that loan off or switch to a different traditional loan?
Right. So most of our loans are bridge loans, so they're typically 12 to 18 months.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I've been in real estate 23 years. I wish I would have become an investor when I first got into real estate because the prices were like really, really low. But I was just so afraid because I didn't know what I was doing or anything. So I just didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, that's why we have groups like this, we can work with each other. I've done a lot of deals with people who have come on our calls. Um, and we've had a lot of opportunities to come through. So everyone here is trying to, build their portfolio and it's not fun doing that by yourself either, right? It's kind of scary
No,
actually.
no need so. Lisa,
Right.
is any projects going on, upcoming project to share with the group and they may want to look into it in Texas?
Yeah, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Because because I don't really work with investors. I mainly work with people that are actually going to occupy it.
Mhm.
But I can certainly research it and get back with y'all on it.
No, yeah, it's okay. If you do have something, we're always looking out there. We have clients in almost every major city across the nation. So if you ever
Oh, okay.
need to offload something, it looks like something an investor would take, then yeah, come on and would love to hear from you. And one
Okay,
thing,
that's a good idea because I just the people that contact me for some reason, they call me like when they're right at the end point, they're desperate, they're about to lose their home. Then I'll typically make a couple phone calls to some investors that I know and they'll end up purchasing them. So yeah, this is good to know that you guys do that.
yeah, absolutely. And it might be worth it for you to be intentional about going, serving investor clients because that's residual transactions, right? Hopefully, if especially if
Right.
they're full time, right? They're buying and selling all the
Yes.
time. So that's one way to kind of maybe keep a steady pipeline for you. That's just like us in the position we're in. We do loans, right? And I say like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I found a better gig than what we have here because it's hard to find something that is high ticket sales, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
with volume on repeat residual, right? And so
Right.
if you sell a house, right, to a retail
Mm-hmm.
client, you might not see that client for 5 to 7 years, if that, right? Or same
Correct.
thing with cars. But if you're servicing an investor, then hopefully, if they're skilled, they're building their portfolio and they're doing multiple, right? One a month at least, or maybe a bunch. In Texas, there's people who buy like 10 at a time. So I would
Yes,
get into
there
the meetup
is.
groups and maybe like find out, try to find a way to earn, their business if you
I
want
think
that
what I
business.
need to
Sometimes investors are hard to work with.
Yeah, some of them can be difficult, but if you bring them something that they're really interested in, they'll jump on it right away. But my issue is I would need to take a class on real estate investing and know what the numbers are and how to, calculate things because I've never really worked with investors as far as finding them properties. I don't have that expertise. And then after COVID, our prices were driven up sky high because so many people from California, New York were moving here. So our average sales price used to be in the mid 200s. Now they're 475, 500,000 for the average sales price here in Texas, in North Texas where I work.
Wow. Yeah.
So our sales prices have gone up quite a bit.
Do you think it's going to hold, or are you expecting at some point it's not sustainable?
No, they're continuing to increase these prices here because people are steady moving here, especially in Austin.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, how's Austin doing? Because I know that they're experiencing a correction.
Yeah, things kind of turned around and went downhill with Austin, but now, since the market is starting to get to the busy season in the spring, people are
Mhm.
now starting to get back out there and look now that the holidays are all over with. So right
Right.
now where I am, the average days on the market is like 86 days, whereas during COVID it was
That's
like
not bad.
hours.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was crazy
It
time.
was
Yes.
it was minutes on the market, not days on the market back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
but I put
sometimes it didn't even
Alicia's
hit the market.
yeah, listen. Well, I
Yeah.
put Lisa's contact information on the chat, so if you want to call her, that's you can go from there, and she can hear everything about Texas. Texas is a
Awesome.
huge state, so there. But yeah, Lisa, if I know your home inspection. Stay on if you want to. It's great contact with the group here, and vice versa too. So I always say, I always bring people on, Corey, so you guys can connect more on
Oh
that
yeah.
too. But yeah, Lisa, anybody has questions about Lisa? She's in
Yeah.
Texas.
If
I don't know
anyone
if
has questions before she
you
has to
guys
log off.
interested.
But yeah, thank you so much, Alicia. And feel free to come by anytime, every Friday, right at this time. So can
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me, Kurt.
yeah.
Oh, anytime, anytime.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt. You always bring awesome people on, so I appreciate you,
Mhm. Yeah.
man. All right, guys. Anyone have anything else? Leads, needs, good deeds? Um, Actually, oh, I forgot the last 2 weeks, so I just remembered John Burns, they have their survey, I think every quarter. Um, their fix and flip survey. So if you fix and flip properties, it doesn't matter if it's in Hawaii or not, it could be anywhere. They have a survey that they circulate and Sheena, can you try to, or Layla, can you guys try to dig up the link um for the survey? We've been emailing it out, but I just kept forgetting to put it out there. And if it's a short survey, and if you take it, then at the end they'll let you download data analysis on the different markets across the nation. I don't think they have Honolulu yet. I think because they don't have enough data yet. But like other major cities like Tay and Chantel is talking about they're going into Indianapolis. So um perhaps you can download some data over there, right? And we're going to Vegas, so I always go and get the Vegas one. And yeah, so if you guys take the survey, then they'll allow you to download like some of the analytics from some of the major markets across the nation. So, and it gives us some brownie points in the MPLA.
I'm
Oh,
putting it in. Oh, thank you.
oh,
Thank you.
that's awesome. Tasha sent it in too.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. All
So you
right,
get to
Dave, like
is of metro level data for any market, includes statistics on sales, prices, rents, demand and supply, and affordability. You can download one set of data for each market that you rate. So but only up to 3. So if you rate 3 different markets for us, then you can download up to 3 markets of your choice.
thank you, Layla. I don't know if you ladies want to talk about your deal in Indy or not, but I'd love to hear like how did you guys find it? Okay, yeah, you guys. You said you have a friend who is or Chantal has a friend that is a realtor, right? Out there.
Yes. Yeah, so her name is Michelle. We grew up together. She's actually how I got our first deal we did together. So she just sends me stuff that she gets. She's trying to get it into the commercial real estate as well. So she sent these. She sent a couple before, but it wasn't anything that we could really move on. So like some a big lot in Miami with like hotel plans and then a couple other apartment buildings. Her husband is like an insurance guy who does, so he's currently working on this apartment that they want to sell as well. But yeah, she sent this one and I just sent over to Tay and asked her like, hey, I don't know anything about commercial, so could
Yeah,
you?
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. If anything, it's good reps, you know,
Yeah.
to yeah, it's really good reps. And so what made you guys kind of look at this one instead of the other ones?
So, first we're trying to do more deals together because we have opposite personalities and it works. They complete each other. And I think after like I'm getting close to Tani and she raves about commercial, like retail commercial spaces.
Mhm.
And you know, she's on her second or third retail commercial space now. And so
Wow.
and she loves it. So I think like her passion for that specific niche really shines through her. And we got on a couple calls about it. And just, I don't know, she's like, you know, up front, it's a lot of work and months of work and analysis. But once you're in it, once you're in a good deal, it is pretty straightforward. There's less maintenance, like it's just, there's even less work and a lot more money usually than, you know, having residential tenants and such. So we just feel like it was like the next thing. And right when I was talking to Tani and she got leads, or like, okay, well, this, you know, it's under 5 million. The location is great because
Mhm.
we kind of, you know, we've worked in Indy, so we understand that area.
Mhm.
And yeah, it right now on paper, it's not quite the best deal, but we would have to offer you know, lower than what they want, obviously. And we don't know anything about commercial lending, so we're about to learn that as well.
Yeah.
And it's a triple net
Triple net, yeah. Mhm.
lease. And they sent us an Excel sheet with the data, each tenant, how much they're paying, all of the, I guess, rubs as well. And we didn't know that commercial property management is anywhere between 3.5% to 5%, rather than the 8 to 10% for regular residential. So I thought, I don't know, just, you know, learning, interesting, is something new.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we learned one strategy that we can rinse and repeat over time with systems and processes, and they don't move on their own, but kind of, right? Like we can get into one flip and understand from A to Z more or less what we're getting into, rather than relearning, like rather than learning every step of the way. So now feeling ready to go into something else. And I mean, we've analyzed a lot of deals that we never moved on. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's the next thing.
Mhm.
And it's not, what is that? The squirrel thing, shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
We're just ready for another
I love
type.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe you too. Yeah, the commercial space and the multifamily spaces is it's different. It has its pros and cons, right? And like um the best thing about it, I feel, is the economies of scale. And that's why it's cheaper, right, to manage, just because it's economies of scale. And if well, one, I definitely keep us updated if you know if you go forward or not. And I think we can all learn. You know, Kikwa is actually he's in Irvine right now with the New Wealth fam over there, holding a class. And you know, with him and I, we're kind of divide and conquer, you know. So I'm sticking in the single family space, he's in multifamily and commercial. And it is a different world, you know, once you have to get programmed in one, you know, asset class and then have to switch to another one. I think it's definitely doable. I mean, people do it all the time. They're in commercial, single family. but to stay up to date on like the banking and because like the capital, now you have to deal with capital stacks, and like how does that, are you gonna syndicate it, or you're gonna have first debt, second debt, and but so
What is
I
capital stack? We're like,
no, oh, it's basically the stack of the capital. So is it gonna be
Okay.
100% equity? If so, how much? Are you gonna have a first lien? Sometimes in big purchases, you have a first and a second, right? Or mezzanine debt. Sometimes mezzanine debt comes in, which is kind of a mix between debt and equity sometimes. That's more on large scale development projects. But you'll see it every now and then. In fact, we were maybe for like a year ago or so, we were really gonna push to form a mezz debt company, more towards single family, so that we could help fill the gaps of some of the financing needs here in Hawaii, so like investors here would just come to the table with a deal, and their job is just come to the table with a deal and execute. We'll fund everything, the first and the second, and I think that's still a project that we're working on, but we have to put it on the side. But in larger scale development projects and sometimes commercial space, like you'll have some of that, right? A syndication is kind of similar. You have multiple partners, different levels, right? You have GPs, LPs, sponsors.
So even on a commercial, like retail commercial, like syndications could be a way of financing.
Yeah, you can still syndicate like a large scale. It's usually, is it necessary though? To have to syndicate.
And we had that
Some-
conversation for our 13-unit building. You're like, you don't need to syndicate for 500,000. You can just all that. Does anyone know what credit loss means? So we're looking at their kind of like deal calculator, and there's rental income, a 5% vacancy rate, and then a 1% credit loss. Does anybody know what that means? I was gonna save it for Tani, but
Yeah.
okay.
Is that one of their spreadsheets?
No, this is from the LoopNet post listing. Yeah, so no worries. I was just wondering if
This was a spreadsheet they sent. This wasn't from
Can you
them.
post, no, actually don't do that.
I think it has to do with the amount of money, rental income that's lost due to vacancy or non-payment of rent.
okay.
They call that credit loss, huh?
Beyond that, I don't know how you would calculate it. Is it a spreadsheet or?
Well, they have it in their spreadsheet. So you know how like when we analyze residential, we have rental income, 5% vacancy, 5% maintenance, 10% management, all those minus. There's a space credit loss, 1%, like 1% credit loss. So I was just wondering, like, does that have to do with the loan or?
No, I think if it's not rented.
Okay.
It's like,
Well, it's on the LoopNet sheet, so why would they put that up there, right? Maybe,
what is the meaning of credit loss? Okay, meaning of credit loss in English.
I put it in the chat.
I mean, I think they're calculating it as 1%, right? Is that what you're saying? It's pre-calculated.
So this is just, I guess, the way that they have their sheet. They attribute a 1% loss for credit loss. But Alex just put something in here. Future potential credit loss, the company holds reserve for estimated, okay.
Potential credit losses.
Oh, so it's like reserves. So we put money in reserve. Okay, cool. Learn.
Different.
Yeah. Awesome. What else? But so this particular commercial deal, it's fully occupied. And one thing that Tani had mentioned was that she doesn't mind some vacancies because one, you can negotiate, your purchase price, but also you can control you know, the income of those vacant units, you know, whether you divide, you know, you divide them up and create more units, or, and like therefore more tenants, more leases, or perhaps you go in, renovate a couple things, and then all of a sudden you can get an extra 1,000 a month or something like that. So this particular deal, it's all, you know, occupied, so it's technically there's no room to increase the rents for the length of the lease. And there are leases, so 4 different leases, but the longest one ends in 2031. So we would be, you know, stuck in there for 7 years with that particular lease. Again, you know, it's good to look at these things and just kind of like start getting our brain into a calculator for that kind of deal. And then the next
Yep.
deal we look at, then we'll, you know, it'll be a bit faster to recognize the pros and cons, I guess.
Yeah.
Just so, yeah.
That's well, like with commercial, it's great because you can kind of look at it as its own business, right? You know, multifamily as well, because you can get creative with how do we generate more income and cut expenses. But that is part of the economies of scale as well, right? And that's the beauty of commercial and multifamily. Like that's one of the pros. Now, I feel that some of the cons of commercial and multifamily is that sometimes, like if you own 100 single family homes and that's your portfolio versus a 100-unit apartment complex, sometimes like if you needed to sell for cash or something, right? But you didn't want to sell the whole portfolio, then single family would probably work out better for you, right? Because you could slice off a chunk, sell it, or you can always refi it a little bit, right? Same with commercial, but you got one asset versus, you know, many. And so there's pros and cons, I feel, to single family and
Yeah.
commercial as well. So but like you said, I think the only thing I'd caution, because I feel some people get a little too antsy and they jump ship too early, you know, one way or the other. Usually it's single family to commercial. People graduate or they think that's, you know, graduating, but it's really just a different asset class. You know, there's people who have built, you know, billions in the single family space, right? And that's all. And do they now own some commercial? Probably, you know, that's why it's probably the natural progression. But I think both are necessary to have in a strong, well-balanced portfolio, right? And eventually that's the goal, I think, for everybody, right? So one way or the other, it's like we might get there. So reps is reps, you know. I think it's good reps no matter what. You learn something every time.
Also in the Midwest, like one of two things kind of happened over the last 12 months, which we've heard. Either the counties increase the tax assessed value of properties, not the tax rate that they're charging for them. Either they did that or anyway, there's a property tax increase all over. And on commercial, like I don't know how they like calculate that, and if they're gonna, you know, if the next year they're about to add $1 million to the assessed value and completely throwing things off in the numbers. So
well, it's good you're actually thinking that way, because yeah, people forget that that's important. You kind of got to know, because like even insurance, if insurance changes, and that's happened to some people on our call too, you know, like overnight, like your cash flow could disappear, you know, and so it's good to kind of check the boxes about all of that. And you know, one thing I'm learning with my mentorship with Ranson is that since he's in cannabis, right, he has to know how to navigate all the regulation, you know, and all, you know, the political relationships, and he has to stay in the know all the time because things can change, you know, and it can change quickly. It could one law that gets passed is like, you know, kill your business. So you kind of have to, be in those rooms, shaking those hands, kind of listening keenly. Especially as, the higher and higher you go, especially in like commercial, it gets, you said it's only 5 million, right? But 5 million is a lot of money. So,
yeah.
especially in indie.
Everything else we're seeing, this is like the lowest one.
Yeah. How big is the
11,300 square feet.
7,300 square feet?
So
Oh, that's
I
not that big for, well,
Yeah,
I would have thought,
per square foot,
how much per square foot?
400 and some change, just depends.
Okay. Huh. Wow. Is that at market or is that below
Yeah.
market? It's at market.
Yeah, for commercials.
Sounds like there might not be any room for like a value add.
Yeah,
You might have to just,
that's why we wanna, but again, since we're just in the learning, just putting in
Stage.
the reps, I guarantee, it looks decent on paper. That's why I say it looks decent on paper, but how much lower would we have to offer for it to actually make sense?
right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you should still, you went this far, you might as well, get to a point where you make an offer where it does work. You never know. People say yes sometimes.
Yeah. And then I wanted to totally shifting here, but share maybe an opportunity. So Lahaina is still being rebuilt. Beyond Lahaina, it's like nothing ever happened as far as like when you drive through, tourists have come back to the west side. And there are still homes selling, definitely sitting a little longer in the market. And also Lahaina is one of the higher markets here on Maui. And there hasn't been, even after the fires, there hasn't been a decrease in asking price and even sales price. So I got a lead in a gated community. It's one of those like gated community, super custom home. The view, they're at the top of the hill. I think they're the highest property in that little neighborhood, the gated community. And the seller reached out to like through my website. I think he reached out to me, and they wanted it outright, and they want to sell it off market, possibly do a seller finance, while whoever here buys it just handles, not just, but handles the sale. And for some, and I was talking to a couple of agents about that lead, where it's very tricky in the surrounding areas of Lahaina right now. It's very tricky because a lot of people would rather move away. And the ones who want to stay are not the $4 million buyers. They're the ones who probably lost everything or something, and they could afford under $1 million. And there's nothing under $1 million in Lahaina right now. But okay, why am I bringing this up? In case someone is like, yeah, I might have a buyer for that. It's secluded, there's zero traffic up there, top of the mountain. The view is crazy. There's a pool, custom 3,000 square foot home, comes furnished. I'm not under contract. I'm about to go walk it next week or the week after, but just putting it out there. If that is something you guys might know, someone would be interested. I don't even have to be a part of it. The seller is super nice. He is trying to do a lot on his own without an agent right now. But yeah. And he's an
And he
investor
lives there.
himself too. And it's actually his wife's parents' estate. So he's like, I'm just helping them. The wife's mom lived there alone for too long, so they brought her back to them in New Jersey. But yeah, so he wants to just do it off market, and he is willing to definitely not sell it at market value. So maybe someone would want that here.
So does anybody
Well-
have $5 million? No.
Well, how much
think-
do you want?
So I think I would have to read again, but he's like around 4.2, 4.3. And market value for that would be 4.9 on the lower end, 5.2 on the market value end. That's where we would be for that place.
And is that with terms as well, like owner financed or?
Yes.
Yeah, did he say what type of terms?
No,
Yeah.
he hasn't. So he was pretty not adamant, but he doesn't want to talk contract yet until I go and see it for myself.
Mhm.
And he also I had to call Aiden. I'm like, Aiden, if I've got to take this cash, like, can I do this, Aiden? Like, I have to call him. He's like, yeah, there's a way we can work this out if you're gonna have to take this on cash. So he just wanted to make sure that, because even if he said, even if we set it on seller finance, there's a down payment that we're gonna want, like this won't be a zero down payment deal.
Yeah.
So he's like, I just want to make sure that you can even, that's in your realm of financing before we talk more. And so I called Aiden, I'm like, yep, it can happen. He's like, okay, cool. You go buy it. I'm going to send you pictures, but you're going to go buy it. Someone will take you through the house. Then we'll talk real numbers. So yeah. And yeah, they own it outright. So Aiden also mentioned something, maybe you know about it, Corey. If we were to put this home through some kind of Marriott vacation rental program or something, so it's not Airbnb, but the home would definitely qualify for, I don't know, I dance at those houses all the time, but they're basically like billionaire houses, or they're here for like 2 to 4 months and they pay $40,000 a
Timeshare.
month.
I'm sure, kind.
Well, they partner with Airbnb and all the platforms, I believe.
Right, and
Um,
it's some kind of loop around where we don't even need we wouldn't, I don't know, anyway, so Marriott will kind of handle, but they do take 50%, I don't know, of the income or something. But he was saying that's something that he has a client or something who does that a
right,
lot.
he closed one in I forget where that was, either Maui or Big Island.
Well,
Oh,
maybe
actually, it might have been
Maui,
right over here.
He was like, he's like, hey, because I sent him the address. He's like, oh, try and look into this. Like, I could even send you her contact, and you guys can
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like see if that's a possibility. Yeah.
That might, yeah, because he just closed one like last year. Same situation. I don't think it
Yeah.
was Maui though. It might have been here, right off up Tantalus. But yeah, they partner with like Marriott, and Marriott is kind of on all the platforms. So you kind of just plug into their marketing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how Luke, like if the numbers work or not, but
Yeah.
sounds like
wouldn't.
it could. If you qualify though, the property has to be specific, it's one of those dream destination ones that they want to promote on
Yeah.
Airbnb and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll talk to Aiden more about that for sure.
We'll see. Like, I'm gonna go walk it first and then see if it's even, worth really digging to it at 4.2, 4.3. Because I initially was under 4 million that I wanted to offer, but he's like, we're more like 4.2, 4.3. Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is we all know there's a housing crisis in Hawaii, but Maui is being affected even further now because FEMA is paying landlords $10,000 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's got to be fully furnished, right? And it's got to be a long-term, I think 2-year lease, 18 months lease. So everyone who's not a fire victim is getting, not necessarily evicted, just the lease is not being renewed because landlords are gonna place female families. Not gonna lie, I definitely considered it because I have 1 2-bedroom here that I don't know how much I pay for a 2-bedroom, but it's starting to like, unfortunately, kind of fester here on Maui, where people can't find regular rentals anymore, like non-fire victims
Displaced.
can also not find,
Yeah.
yeah, at a real market value. So 3 bedrooms here are close to like 4,000 a month. I would say average, maybe 3,800-ish. And 2 bedrooms are in the upper 2,000 now, like could be quite close to 3,000. In like maybe B and C areas. Once you get in the A areas, you're, obviously way above that. So, yeah, it's becoming a bit of a challenge for renters.
Yeah.
Very sad.
10,000 a month? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 3 bedroom. And we personally know someone who just renovated
Mhm.
2 rentals.
And he's
Oh, the
getting
deal,
that.
yeah, you guys funded the deal. So he's got 4 homes on 1 lot. They just finished renovating the first 2 homes, I believe. And yeah, they're set up to have FEMA families. So 1 home's gonna have 6 people, the other, I forget how many. So 10K. When they thought they were gonna bring 12K of income every month, they're looking at 40K for 18 months. That's crazy. I mean, that's really good. When I think investor, I'm like all day, every day, I would do that. And you have major tax exemptions too. If you
Wow.
are part of the property tax exemption. I don't know about the GE tax. Maybe Annabelle might know that. But yeah, so it's I'm seeing on Facebook groups here, like Maui Facebook groups, it's starting to be a bit of a
It's just-
challenge.
It's sad because all that money, it's like temporary, right? Like, why aren't they putting all that money into something more long-term for 18 months? Really isn't that long for families, right? I mean, it seems like it, but really you're spending 10,000 a month for how many families? And that money can go to rebuilding permanent
Yeah.
homes. Or it's just sad.
And I think the thinking there from FEMA was that they wanted short-term rentals to give to house the Lahaina families, and they were willing to pay $10,000 a month. So now, even if you don't have a short-term rental, like, you're gonna get 10,000. So
Wow.
a lot of people need to move out because their leases are ending. They've got to move out so that the landlord can place a FEMA family.
Wow.
Why there's supposed to be a memorandum.
It's
for
done.
It's done.
Yeah.
January 5th it lifted.
Oh.
No, January 5th it lifted.
Okay. Did Josh
Yeah.
Green, did they make the call yet? Because I know he was talking about that. He was saying how, like, if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna have to, like, come down with the regulation. And I think
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So I definitely haven't heard that at all, that he was gonna.
Layla, you sent that to me, I think. What was he saying? Oh, I forgot. Oh, Layla might be on a call.
Sorry,
It's
no,
20.
takes
Go
me a
ahead.
while. Yeah, he said he was threatening to enact that moratorium on short-term rentals if not enough partners stepped up to make the 2,700, I guess, count that they need. But it's not officially enacted yet.
Yeah.
So if they don't fill the need for the 2,700 of those still displaced from the fires or that needs housing, then he's gonna force the short-term vacation rental owners to convert.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, kind of same, right? If anything, it might be more for some people, but man, that sounds like they didn't think that through.
I
A lot
thought
of
they
our
were gonna
young
only
people don't.
offer like the 10, those. I didn't think they would do it on like the people that
Hmm,
have long-term rentals. Maybe add 1,000 to market
I'd recommend-
rents if you
Yeah,
don't own a short-term rental. I don't know. But yeah, like everybody, a lot, like all my landlord friends, all the furnishing their rentals. I mean, in a way, I'm happy for my friends. And then I've had friends who just can't find a rental that they can afford. And they didn't lose, they didn't lose a home and such or loved ones, but they lost probably their job because they were hotel workers and such. But yeah, it's very tricky right now.
yeah, what is the sentiment right now out there? Because properties are, I mean, people are selling their properties in Lahaina.
Yeah.
Like, is that happening? And
Not,
is
yeah.
that because before it's like, okay, if you buy a house in Lahaina, like you're evil, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's like maybe you're the hero, maybe they have no other option. And maybe they want to move on.
I think either way, people are gonna have, so you buy, then in Lahaina, then you're messed up. But if on the other hand, you could be helping that family that wants to sell because they don't
Yeah.
wanna. So it's like, I think it's a lose-lose
Yeah,
situation,
but
right?
are we past that point of, because initially it's like, okay, let's not like send offers to these families right now, like I think I agree with that earlier on, but has the sentiment changed now where it's like, okay, now perhaps we do need investors to come and buy our properties because we're just gonna move on? Like, are we there yet? Has that happened, or is it still?
I still turn down Lahaina properties that want to sell, just
Okay.
because I don't want to put it on the market and be the seller is willing to do like an off-market marketing thing where I don't have to list it and publish it and like find an end buyer behind the scenes. That's something that I have a conversation with them about if they do come across. But yeah, it's just the marketing.
So it's a
Our-
lot of properties probably traded off market, maybe.
Yeah.
People don't want
Maybe
to.
like that guy that's trying to sell off market. I don't know. Our friend Genesis, he has a listing there. He's an agent. He has a listing there. I just spoke to him yesterday about how's that and how's the energy there. And he said they were they were in escrow and they just fell out of escrow, so they're back on the market. And then he said he was quite I guess scared to be the listing agent to list it, like to kind of put it out there. But so this guy Genesis is very active on social media and he hasn't done anything about that specific property. Like he's the type to do heavy social media marketing on his homes, his listings. So he hasn't done much. And yeah, he was not super thrilled about it, but it was his family. So it's kind of like, it was a family decision. Everyone's at peace with it. And yeah, so he said that it was actually not that bad. They've had showings, they went under contract, it fell out, so they're back on the market. And yeah, I don't know if they're gonna price drop because it's been on for a couple of months. But he's the only one I got to talk to. But believe it or not, so the weird thing is like right outside of Lahaina, they're still doing the homes that I have a lead for. It's still selling. It does sit on the market 6 to 8 months, but they are selling for 4 mil. Like the sales are happening, just just a very few here and there.
Oh, so I guess that it is a real sensitive situation, right? Still, yeah. Ah, yeah.
Covering different things. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring down the call. I just wanted to
No,
aware
I think
of
it's interesting.
like the things like if anyone's gonna, I don't know, either do business in Maui or has a Maui lead, to just have that in your mind when you're analyzing or talking to someone on Maui.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Very amazing deal right now here. It's not in Lahaina, so, and it'll be really, really, really good. So
Yeah.
deals are
Nice.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens to Lahaina, you know, and I think yeah, it's gonna take a while though. So if I was in some of the family shoes, you might not have an option, you know. So that's the sad part.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? The Rock and the Oprah money, like what happened to that?
They made
Going to-
another movie. Kidding. I don't know. Just kidding. Sorry.
Does
I'm not,
anybody
yeah,
know?
not part of it, so I wouldn't know. Wouldn't know. Even
Yeah.
I just last night someone was telling me Jeff Bezos and his wife, what is it when you don't really pay the donation, you commit like pledge.
Pledge.
And when that, like everybody was like praising him, and I'm like, that doesn't mean he gave the money, guys. I'm like, okay. It's just a promise. It's a promise right now. He's got 50 years to be good on his promise.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
I
I know
totally,
all of my friends haven't seen any of that money that
it doesn't sound.
On I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaker, so you guys can talk amongst yourselves. If you want an appraiser, to come on, if you want to, so you can do Q&A. Not, it's not a Greg session, but just
yeah.
Q&A.
Mhm.
For Hawaii, I don't know if you guys are in other states. 10th
I don't know. Yeah, who would you guys like to bring on?
you know, home inspector kind of thing.
Like the first. Um, you really only have like 10. You know, you really don't have the 10 months because once you get to like November, December, everybody slows down, you know, and like they're not focused on real estate, they're focused on travel and family and holidays, shopping, right? So if we only have 10 months, like now we got 9, you know. So I know for our team, like we're gonna go as hard as we can. We're gonna stretch the limits and find out, you know, where where our boundaries are, where we start to break down. But I don't see it right now. So I think we're gonna push harder, and we're looking for opportunities, especially in Las Vegas, here in Hawaii. And we're gonna be kind of in a position that we can start, you know, looking at some deals if you guys want partners, you know, if you need partnerships. We're gonna start getting putting some cash out there. So let us know. And hope you guys all have a great weekend. Happy Aloha Friday, and we'll see you
Yes.
guys next week. Thanks, ladies.
Aloha.
You guys have a great weekend.
Have a good
Aloha.
one. Bye, Craig.